Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Purple Stars podcast. My name is Sarah. I am your host, and I'm back with another solo episode. I have been thinking a lot what I'm going to talk about today because I've been feeling the weight of this month, January, a lot myself. And I know many of you have too, whether it's the wildfires back home in LA, for others, it's health crisis or the buildup of everyday stressors like tight deadlines, financial pressures, juggling responsibilities, and lots of other challenges at home. And it's very clear that we all are navigating a lot right now. And that's why I wanted to share a short episode to help you give your nervous system some extra care and support. Because when your nervous systems are dysregulated, you might feel more anxious, more on edge, have more mood swings. You might have trouble sleeping, dealing with lots of different physical symptoms like tight muscles, digestive issues, headaches. You might be also faster overwhelmed or have difficulty focusing. And in times like this, our nervous system really tends to be dysregulated and tends to be overstretched. So if you're dealing with any of these feelings or physical signs or a combination of both, I have got 8 simple, practical steps for you to help you return to a more regulated nervous system where you feel more calm, clear, and also grounded. And of course, while taking care of your nervous system won't make life's challenges disappear, it will certainly help you face those challenges with more resilience. And I always love to say it's almost allowing you to stay in the driver's seat of your life instead of feeling pushed around and powerless and overwhelmed. Okay, so let's dive in. Number 1 is JSJ. JSJ is a Japanese healing art, which I am a huge fan of. I've been using it myself for more than 15 years now, and it's one of my absolute favorite tools for coaching. It helps to harmonize the energy within the body, mind, and soul. And what I love so much about it is while there are many different points on the body that we as practitioners can work on, there are so many easy steps that you can work on yourself. And one of them is working with your fingers. And if you hold your index finger, whether it's on the left side or on the right side, for minimum 3 minutes with a gentle pressure or gentle touch, like don't squeeze it too much, it helps to harmonize particularly anxiety and overthinking and being worried and being overwhelmed. And the great thing is you can do this anywhere. So it's not like a meditation where you have to purely focus on it. So you can either sit and incorporate, for example, of course, in your meditation, but you could also hold your finger and harmonize and support yourself during a Zoom call. You can also do it while walking your dog. You can do it while watching TV, while being at the dinner table. So it doesn't require your full attention in order to support you. And that's why it is one of my absolute favorite tools, because you can just incorporate anywhere and anytime. So give it a shot. Maybe even if you're not driving right now, you can already start holding one of your index fingers with a slight gentle touch, like not too strong, while you're listening to this episode. And then you probably already start very quickly feeling a difference. Number 2 is body tapping. It is something that I am telling all my clients because it has such big benefits and is very simple. And I also love to incorporate body tapping, particularly when traveling a lot, when being in different settings where there are a lot of people. So anywhere where I feel like there is like a information overload, with a lot of people, with a lot of noise, a lot of stimulants, a lot of information. And body tapping is also very simple. There are many different ways, but one of the ways that I personally really love is that you use your fingertips, and you start at your feet, and then work up your legs, and you work up your arms, and also on your belly and your chest. You can also do it in your face, and wherever you can basically get with your fingers. And then once you're done with the fingertips throughout your body and always working towards your heart, then you tap with your flat hand. And I always love to explain it the way is when you use the fingertips, you're opening your energy channels. And then once you use the tapping with your flat hand, you are adding energy into those channels. And once you tapped with the flat hand from your entire body, then you use the flat hand to strike everywhere. And this is basically to close the energy channels, to keep the energy within the channels. And if you're slightly confused right now what I'm saying, make sure you follow me on Instagram, because I'm definitely going to upload a video on how to do it. But just as a little reminder, you work with your entire body. You use first the fingertips, then you use tapping the flat hand, and then you strike with the flat hand. It's almost like giving yourself like a little massage, and then also a little hug. And it works miracles. It is really amazing. So, and then number 3 is reducing the stimulants, and particularly when it comes to coffee, sugar, and alcohol. And I know in times of stress, some of us really think we rely on particularly the sugar and the coffee, or also the alcohol, to calm down and to deal with certain things. But if you can find ways where you have healthy alternatives, which I think nowadays is already so much easier, particularly when it comes to sugar. There are so many naturally sweetened things, particularly if you have a sweet tooth. And also for coffee, there are great ways already to substitute as well. It is so much better for your nervous system, and you will see a really big difference. And then the next step, how you can give your nervous system some extra support, is a vagus nerve stimulation. And there are many, many, many different ways to do it. And some of my favorite ones, which are also very easy to incorporate throughout the day. One is in the morning, gargling for minimum 30 to 60 seconds. The second one is humming, which you can do in the car, probably not while walking with a dog, because that might be a little weird. But whatever works for you. Singing is really great as well to stimulate the vagus nerve. Meditation is great, breath work, and also gently massaging the sides of your neck, which I personally really love to do, particularly in the morning when I'm using my skincare. And yeah, so these are all different ways to stimulate your vagus nerve, and you can just give it a shot and see which ones you like, and just, try them out. I always say all these tools are a little bit like a buffet, and it's great to have a big variety so you can choose each day different ones depending on what season you're in, if you're currently traveling or not, what's happening in your life, how your mood is, for women also, in what phase of their cycle they are. So it's really great just to have some different options. And then number 5, which many of you are not happy to hear, but it is reducing screen time. And it is just such overstimulation for our brain, particularly because we often do it while doing other things. So multitasking, eating and being on the phone, being at the supermarket, being on the phone, watching TV, being on the phone, having dinner, being on the phone, and so on. So if you can find ways to reduce your screen time, and you can start very simple, for example, saying you have a phone-free dinner, or which I personally think is one of the most powerful ones, is having a set time in the morning after waking to not use your phone. For example, 15 to 30 minutes. And of course, it would be very helpful as well if you use your phone as an alarm, that you put it on do not disturb, so you're not tempted to look at all the messages and all the notifications, and actually get a little bit of time, like 15 to 30 minutes by yourself, and you can do your morning routine. You can have, like your cup of tea, or have your breakfast, or your shower, whatever feels good for you. But it's so great that you give yourself a little bit the chance to check in with yourself before you check in with the rest of the world. This being said, the next step that I highly recommend is routines, particularly in times of uncertainty, or also when traveling a lot. That's something I talked a lot about to my clients, because when we're traveling, so many things are changing. We stay in different beds. We don't have our favorite mug. We don't have our own showers. We're not in our own neighborhoods. And the same when, like, a lot of things are uncertain, it can create a lot of anxiety within us. And therefore, it's even more important during times like that to give ourselves a little bit of uncertainty in a way that it is possible. And that's when we are talking about routines. And I think a great example is particularly when you look at athletes. So many have routines, whether it is, during break points at tennis, or certain pre-shot routines for golf. Like, every athlete has a certain routine, and that's what they can influence. And I think it's such a great concept and philosophy also to use for our life. And if you can find anything that you can attach to something that you are doing anyway. So for example, let's say while you're brushing your teeth, which I hope you're doing daily, you can close your eyes and focus on your breath. Or while you are, driving to work, you can have a routine that you're listening to your favorite songs and sing out loud. And at the same time, you are, stimulating the vagus nerve rather than maybe listening to the news. You can also work on a afternoon routine where you say, 3 o'clock, you set yourself an alarm, and you take out your dog for half an hour. So I feel like routines are a really great way to create a certain sense of stability and predictability. And it's also a really great way to incorporate, if you have an animal at home, like your animals. I personally love in the morning to meditate with Felix, my dog. It's a really great way, and it's really cute because he really loves it too. So whenever I sit down on the couch, he's already coming, and he literally sits on my lap when I'm sitting cross-legged, and he's staying for as long as I'm meditating. And so it's a great way of bonding as well. Yeah, so routines. And if you're like right now, oh my God, I don't even know where to start, please don't overwhelm yourself. Just start with one routine rather than saying, oh, you want to do 5 minutes of Spanish, and you want to do a morning routine, an evening routine, and this and this and that. Just pick one routine that you're doing, let's say for a week, attach it to maybe something that you're doing anyway, and then just build up on that. And the next thing that I think is also a really great way to give your nervous system an extra support is feeling your emotions. And while this is probably one of the most challenging steps that I am mentioning today, it is also one of the most important ones, because when we are not allowing ourselves to feel our emotions, it's almost like putting them in the corner and in the living room, and every time when we come home, they're still there. And we might try to distract ourselves with a lot of work, with sports, with meeting our friends, with social media, with TV, and so on. But they're not going anywhere. And we subconsciously always feel that we need to keep ourselves busy. It can even be with food, with alcohol, and so on. If we don't allow ourselves to feel the emotions. And I know in certain times it can be very hard, particularly when it is related around grief and heavy emotions. And what I always suggest people that want to come back to allowing themselves to feel their emotions is to remember, like, you have the ability and you also have the strength to hold your heart when it's heavy. And also, whenever is the first time you sit down and feel your emotions, you will see it is getting each time a little bit lighter. So there are so many different ways to feel your emotions. Of course, you can see a therapist, you can see a coach. For other people, it might be journaling. For the next one, it might be painting. For some, it's spending time in nature, meditating, cooking. For others, it's incorporating their body. So it can be yoga, it can be dancing. And there are so many different ways to hold space for your emotions. And I also think when you incorporate the other steps in your daily lives, the ones that I mentioned, JSJ and body tapping and reducing the stimulants and taking care of your vagus nerve, and also, reducing screen time. And when you have your routines, all of this is a safety blanket for you to also feel safer when you're feeling your emotions. And after a not so easy step, I am going to tell you the 8th step, which is probably one of the most pleasant ones, and that is hugging. Guys, I need you to hug more. It is releasing oxytocin, which is also known as the love hormone. It can reduce stress. And so please hug people, hug your animals, give yourself a hug. It can strengthen your bond and calm everyone. And yeah, I feel like nowadays it's really important to do that. And that actually brings me also to something that's out of context, but I have heard that when you hug someone at a certain time, that your heartbeats start to synchronize. And I really love that. And I think it's a very beautiful way to think about hugging. So these are 8 steps to give a little bit more support, a little bit more care, a little bit more love to your nervous system. And I hope it's going to make you feel a little bit more calm, a little bit more safe within your body, giving you a little bit more sense of being grounded. And yeah, so I hope this helps. And please make sure you follow us on Instagram, because I'm going to share also videos where you can see the different techniques, particularly JSJ and the tapping. I'll be sharing way more about that, because I think it's such a beautiful and powerful and simple way to support ourselves. This being said, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and please share it with a friend, or also leave a review. And you can connect with us on Instagram for more tips and inspiration. And until next week, please take care of yourself and those around you. And I'm sending you lots of love.